Welcome back, dear students. This video is for class 10th, subject science, chapter number 3, metals and non-metals, and lecture number 7, NCERT exercise solutions. So in all the 6 lectures, almost all the in-text questions of this chapter we have done as homework, and now some of the questions of NCERT exercise are left. So we will try to do them today. So let us begin with our first question. Question number 1 is, which of the following pair will give you the displacement reaction? A. Sodium chloride solution and copper metal. B. Magnesium chloride solution and aluminium metal. C. Ferrous sulfate solution and silver metal. D. Silver nitrate solution and copper metal. And the correct option is D. Why? Because all the other metals which we are having along with the salt are less reactive than the metal present in the salt solution. Hence, they cannot replace the more reactive metal from the salt solution. But copper is more reactive than silver, so it can displace copper from silver nitrate solution. So, correct option is D. That is, silver nitrate solution and copper metal will give the displacement reaction. Question number 2 is, which of the following methods is suitable for preventing an iron frying pan from rusting? Applying grease, applying paint, applying a coating of zinc, or all of the above? As it seems by looking at the options that all these methods A, B, C are the options to or are the methods to prevent rusting. But think about the situation given to you. They are asking about an iron frying pan, which is used very extensively. So we have to think of a method which will be very suitable, like applying grease. All the time you cannot apply grease when you are using the frying pan. Applying paint. Paint will not work with the heat, as we have to use the utensil on the fire. But applying a coating of zinc can work. So answer C. Correct option is answer C. Question number 3 is, an element reacts with oxygen to give a compound a high melting point. This compound is also soluble in water. The element is likely to be calcium, carbon, silicon, or iron. And the correct option is option A, that is calcium. Now you must be thinking why. So let us give you an explanation. We have been given that metal oxide is a high melting point and soluble in water. So think about first, oxide of calcium, that is calcium oxide, has a very high melting point and it reacts with the water to form calcium hydroxide and evolves heat. So actually it reacts with water, and calcium hydroxide, which is sparingly soluble in water, so that is why A option is there. Otherwise, rest of the options, carbon, silicon, iron, they are not soluble in water. So only calcium is the one. So option A is the correct answer. Rest I have told you that oxides of carbon, carbon dioxide, that is carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, they are gases. So they are not soluble in water. Oxide of silicon, silica, they have high melting points but not soluble in water. So they cannot be the answers. And iron is having high melting point but insoluble in water. So that is why only option A is very suitable. Question number 4 is, food cans are coated with tin and not with zinc. Why? A. Zinc is costlier than tin. B. Zinc has a higher melting point than tin. C. Zinc is more reactive than tin. Zinc is less reactive than tin. So what is the answer? Option C is the answer. Why? Because zinc is more reactive than tin. And canned food may contain organic acids that react with zinc, so it may spoil the food. So that is why instead of using zinc, we are using tin. And one more reason for using tin is that tin is non-toxic in nature. Question number 5 is, you are given a hammer, a battery, a bulb, wires and a switch. A. How could you use them to distinguish between samples of metals and non-metals? B. Assess the usefulness of these tests in the distinguishing between the metals and non-metals. Now just by looking at the questions, you can think of that first question is telling us that how could you use them to distinguish between metals and non-metals. So a very good property of metals is that they are very good conductors, and non-metals, they are insulators, or you can say they are not good conductors. So let us see the answer. First, if a substance can be hammered into thin sheets, it is likely to be a metal. First case, because metals are malleable at room temperature and non-metals are not. So this way you can find out. If on being hammered the element gets shattered, it is likely to be a non-metal. If it is not converting into a thin sheet, that it is for sure it is a non-metal. Now let us set up an arrangement with the battery, wire, switch and bulb to make a circuit. That was first assessment actually. So we have made an arrangement with battery, wire, switch and bulb to make a circuit. Now connect the given sample of the element in the circuit and switch it on. If the bulb glows, it is a conductor of electricity. So it is likely to be a metal as there is a flow of current. And if it does not, the element is likely to be a non-metal. Because only a graphite is a non-metal that is a good conductor of electricity. Otherwise, all the non-metals are insulators. Next question is, assess the usefulness of these tests in the distinguishing between the metals and non-metals. So you can see because this can help us to identify the metals and non-metals. So this way we can identify the properties of the metals and non-metals. If we can hammer them into thin sheets, then they are metals and they are malleable at room temperature. If they are not able to convert into sheets when they are hammered, then they are likely to be non-metals. Then our next question is, what are amphoteric oxides? Give 2 examples of amphoteric oxides. So amphoteric means which can behave as 2 different natures. So oxides which have both acidic and basic properties are called amphoteric oxides. Such metallic oxides that react with acid as well as bases to form salt and water, they are amphoteric oxides. For example, aluminium oxide, copper oxide. You can see it here that when aluminium oxide reacts with hydrochloric acid, it forms aluminium chloride. And water, that is a salt and water solution. But when aluminium oxide reacts with a base, then also it is forming 2NaAlO2, that is sodium aluminate, plus water, salt and water. So in both the cases it is giving a reaction. So that is why this aluminium oxide is a amphoteric oxide. Question number 7 is, name the metals which will displace hydrogen from dilute acids and 2 metals which will not. So iron and aluminium are the 2 metals which will displace hydrogen from the dilute acids because they are more reactive than hydrogen in their standard electrode potential, as they have the higher standard electrode potential as compared to hydrogen. So they can displace hydrogen from the dilute acids. But copper and mercury, they have a lower standard electrode potential than hydrogen, so they cannot displace hydrogen from the acids. Question number 8 is, in the electrolytic refining of a metal M, what would you take as the anode, cathode and the electrolyte? This question I have given you as a homework in one of the lectures, but let us see the answer. And the answer is, in electrolytic refining of metal M, impure metal M is made an anode and the strip of the pure metal M is made at cathode. And a salt of metal M is used as electrolyte. Question number 9. Pratyush took sulfur powder on a spatula and heated it. He collected the gas evolved by the inverted a test tube over it as shown in figure like this. Now question number 1 is, A is, what will be the action of gas on first dry litmus paper, B second moist litmus paper? So let us see the answers. And one more question is there, part B, that is, write the balanced chemical equation for the reaction that takes place. So answer for the first question, A part is, on heating sulfur in air, it combines atmospheric oxygen to form sulfur dioxide, which is a gas under the normal condition. So you know that when the oxides, they are in sulfur dioxide, when it is in a gas form, so it will not be having any kind of hydrogen ions or hydroxide ions, so it cannot behave as an acid or a base. So there will be no changes in the color of dry litmus paper, be that blue or red, because the sulfur gas is dry and the litmus paper is also dry, so there is no presence of water. But if we take the blue litmus paper and this litmus paper is moist, then this moist blue litmus paper changes into red color. Why? Because now it is behaving as acidic, and acids, they generally turn blue litmus paper into red color. But red litmus paper, even if it is moist, there will be no change in its color, because acids have no effect on red litmus paper. Here sulfur gas is obtained when sulfur is heated. So this litmus paper indicates about the acidic and basic or neutral nature of the substance. If we take any dry litmus paper and take it on the gas, then there will be no changes in the color as it contains only oxygen ion present in it. There are no hydrogen or hydroxide ions in it, so that is why no change in the color. But moist litmus paper, there are the water molecules present in it, and hence it can change the color or it can show its acidic behavior. If we take a moist blue litmus paper and take it on a gas, then it changes into red color as it contains hydrogen ions in it, and hence it becomes acidic in nature. When moist litmus paper combines with sulfur, then it forms sulfurous acid, which is a weak acid. Question number 10 is, state 2 ways to prevent rusting of iron. So let us see the answer. By oiling, greasing or painting, because application of any of these on an iron object from it forms an impervious layer, and that is continuous to and do not allow the moisture to come in the contact of metal surface, and hence it can prevent rusting. Second is galvanization, which is a process of applying a layer of zinc on an iron object to prevent it from rusting. Because it does not allow the moisture and oxygen from the atmosphere to come in the contact with iron, as we know that the oxygen reacts, it preferentially reacts with zinc, because zinc is more reactive than iron, and hence this way iron can be prevented from corrosion. Question number 11 is, what type of oxides are formed when the non-metals combine with oxygen? Non-metals, they combine with oxygen to form acidic oxides or neutral oxides. Because non-metals are more electronegative, that means they have a tendency to attract the electrons. When sulfur combines with oxygen, it forms sulfur dioxide. And sulfur dioxide reacts with water, it forms sulfurous acid. That is SO2 plus water gives us H2SO3, that is sulfurous acid. And this sulfurous acid is acidic in nature. Question number 12 is, give reasons for the following. Part A, platinum, gold and silver are used to make jewelries. Why? Part B, sodium, potassium and lithium, they are stored under oil. C, aluminium is highly reactive metal, yet it is used to make utensils for cooking. D, carbonate and sulfide ores are usually converted into oxide during the process of extraction. Now the reason for A is, platinum, gold and silver are used to make jewelries because these metals are noble metals. These remain lustrous for a long time and do not waste away. That is why this is the one reason. And these are rare, hence precious metals. So that is why platinum, gold and silver are used to make jewelries. B, sodium, potassium and lithium are stored under oil to prevent these to come into contact with atmospheric moisture. These are highly reactive metals. If kept in open, they rapidly react with the air and moisture. Then answer for C, aluminium is highly reactive metal, yet it is used to make utensils for cooking, as when it reacts with oxygen to form an oxide layer, which is an impervious layer. That is, it does not allow many of the reactants to pass through, and thus it prevents further reactions. Oxides can be better. This is the answer for part number D of this question. Oxides can be better reduced by carbon, and carbon is the cheapest reducing agent. That is why sulfide and carbonate ores, first they are converted into oxides and then they are reduced to metals. Question number 3 is, you must have seen the tarnished copper vessel being cleaned with the lemon or tamarind juice. Why these sour substances are effective in cleaning the vessels? Because copper is less reactive metal and carbon is a reducing agent. So when copper is kept in the presence of air, it slowly reacts with the moist carbon and oxygen and forms a green colored coating on copper vessel, which is copper carbonate. When we clean the green colored coating with lemon juice, which contains acid. So when acid reacts with the base, that is carbonate, then it neutralizes the base and the salt is formed. So it goes away with the water and hence the vessel is cleaned. It dissolves the green layer and thus obtained a copper again, which is reddish brown lustrous. Now question number 14 is, differentiate between metals and non-metals on the basis of their chemical properties. So as we know that metals, they are reducing agents, non-metals, they are oxidizing agents. Second, metals are electropositive, that means they can lose electron very easily, whereas non-metals are electronegative as they are electron acceptors. Then we have metals, they react with oxygen to form basic and amphoteric oxides, but non-metal, they react with oxygen to form acidic or neutral oxides. they react with water, metals. They react with water to form oxides and hydroxide. But non-metals, they do not react with water. Metals can displace hydrogen from dilute acids depending upon the reactivity series. But non-metals cannot displace hydrogen from the dilute acids. Metals, they have high melting and boiling points, whereas non-metals, they have low melting and boiling points as compared to the metals. Now our 15th question is, a man went door to door posing as a goldsmith. He promised to bring back the glitter of the old and dull gold ornaments. An unsuspected lady gave a set of gold bangles to him when he dipped in a particular solution. The bangles sparkled like new one, but their weight was reduced drastically. So the lady was upset, but after a futile argument with the man, beat a hasty retreat. Can you play the detective to find out the nature of solution he had used? And the answer is, gold is a very noble metal and it does not react with most of the chemicals, including strong acids. So, aqua regia, which is a mixture of 3:1 ratio of hydrochloric acid and nitric acid. This solution can react with the gold, and this can dissolve the gold or convert the gold to gold chloride. So gold chloride, that is a salt that will come into the solution, and that is why the weight of the bangles has reduced. So it has dissolved the upper layer of the gold, and that has come to the solution, and that is why the bangles are sparkling like new, but the weight is reduced. Question number 16 is, give reasons why copper is used to make hot water tanks and not the steel, which is an alloy of iron. So the reason is, it is because that iron reacts with steam formed by the boiling water, but copper does not react with the water as it is very less reactive. So that is why copper is used to make hot water tanks. So with this, we have ended up with the lecture, and we have done all the NCERT exercise questions today. So this is your homework for today, that you have to complete all the NCERT exercise solution in your fair notebook. So I'll see you in the next lecture with one of the assignments. You will be having an assignment of this lecture on your website as your homework. You will get it, and that assignment you have to do in one day, and the next day we will be discussing it. So till then, take care and goodbye.